What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of StreamKey. I'm Velokk or whatever. I've been here before, I think. You guys are chat or viewers or listeners, and you might have been here. If you haven't, welcome.
And
If you've been here before, thank you so much for your support. We got just one amazing guest today. We got DoggGaming, my dude. What's going on, man?
DoggGaming, my dude. Well, thanks for having me back. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Glad to be back. Glad to be back.
Hell yeah, dude. We get to just experience you, your voice, and that beautiful beard. You got some braids going in there? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, they're just twisted up a bit. I can't braid my own beard, I just end up I'm not. So
yeah, I get that. Keep that going, dude. I'm excited to see the progress on that. Hell yeah, man. Dude, happy to have you though, for real. And then we got the amazing co-host, as always, young Sadomi. What's up, bruh?
The only producers called me young. Everyone else calls me old. So thank you.
I need screw those people, man. Today. Yeah, I got you.
I found a gray hair in my beard, and I was like,
yeah, I got you.
Finally, I gained a wisdom point.
Ooh, that's tough, dude. If that like the day that happens, I might shed a lot of fucking tears. I'm not gonna lie. I'm already gray up here. Like that's happened, but here I'm clean.
Field until it's got some grey and orange in it. That's it. That's a little. I'm not grey and orange in it. Okay, that's not why I'm saying that. Okay.
Oh my god. So, all right. First topic of today is actually something that I forgot to put on our list, but something that we were actually just talking about in this call before the show went live. Something that's pretty cool, pretty important is if you're into Call of Duty at all. Call of Duty or Infinity Ward, whoever's behind the whole thing, put out a lawsuit against a company that was making cheats for Call of Duty. And I think it was like instantly that company took down their cheats for the game, which is like amazing. Like that is incredible because prior to that, all that's happened is there's been a metric shit ton of cheaters, and Call of Duty was like, you better stop or maybe don't, and like that was really it. So it's cool to see an actual move made by Activision or Infinity Ward, whoever it is. It's just nice seeing them actually like do something for once. I'm not gonna lie, because like their game is like it's started getting to a point where it's just there's so many bad things going on with glitches, bugs, and on top of that, hackers and cheaters. So this is a really cool move, a really good move, something that's super necessary because even their top content creators for Call of Duty, like Nick Merckx, Tim the Tatman, have been putting out YouTube videos saying like the game's broken, the game's garbage now. Thinking about, not playing it sometimes just because of the amount of things that are going on that are negatively impacting the game. So for big companies to step up like this and actually make a move on a company that makes cheats for other games is really, really cool. DoggGaming, did you have anything on this, man?
I mean, I love this. Like I've seen this tweet the other day. And as an FPS gamer, first and foremost, hackers and cheaters are the bane of my life. They are, and a lot of games are riddled with them, but Call of Duty experienced some really bad ones largely because Warzone is free to play.
Mm-hmm.
You can ban an account and within 10 minutes they're back up and running again. Literally same cheats, no issues. So this is the kind of step I love to see. We started doing this last year at some point with some hackers in Rainbow Six Siege, and I wondered if we were going to see it happening more. And I really do think it's about time that these companies went after them. Like at the end of the day, and this is the thing that's always shocked me. These cheat companies are making money off their IP, and yet these big companies up until this point haven't really bothered about it. They haven't really bothered about it, and I think one of the reasons they haven't bothered about it is that they get into a cheat cycle where they ban them, and then they know they're going to buy a new account, so they kind of make money off them. So ultimately, they're in this. We constantly can kind of milk them for money, which is okay for them from a business point of view, but it kills the game. It kills the enjoyment. It kills the game. And you were seeing, like it's rampant just now in Call of Duty, and it does make it hard. The things that you might forgive in a game, bugs, glitches, you're less likely to forgive that. When every other game, you're getting lasered by somebody that's just sort of bapping about the map. Do you know what I mean? But I'd like to see more done about it. I personally think hardware bans should be something for hackers. I really, really do.
Yes.
I have no solid figures to back this because we can't get the kind of figures on this. But it's long been my theory that 99% of all hackers are teenage boys and younger. Now, if you start banning hardware, right, they're not going to their mum and dad and asking for some money for a new game. They're going and asking for a new motherboard, and that's when questions start getting asked. What happened to your motherboard? How come the machine's broken? And it's a stumbling block, because they don't have the kind of ready money to just fling at it. And I honestly do think that we should be at a time now. Look, when you or I or anybody here pays our money and it's ruined by hackers, right? Why is it we lose out? What have we done wrong? We're consumers. We're spending our money. We're just following the rules. Why does it always come back at us? It's about time that there was actual consequences, real consequences, other than taking 10, 15 minutes to set up a new email account and get a new login account. There needs to be real consequences, and this is the first step. Go at source. But I honestly do think that a huge amount of it could be sorted straight away if you started bringing hardware bans in. Like little Timmy, when he hears that he's going to lose the ability to play the game at all, he's stopping. He's stopping,
Right.
Because you can put the fear of God in them. You know what I mean? You literally can, though, and we should, though, because they're cheating, right?
Right.
And it's an awful thing to do, and it teaches them awful habits and attitudes as well in their life going forward. So I'm all for this. I really hope that this not only do the Activision completely follow through on this and take it as far as they can take it. I hope other companies are seeing it and thinking that's for us as well. I hope it becomes a standard. I hope these cheat companies begin to be driven underground on the internet, because when you type in, and I'm not going to name the company, but when you type in and look at their name, their mission statement literally says we produce hacks. Like before if you've got that on Google search, it's telling you right there the summation of it. They're literally just living in the open, free, making money from criminal behavior. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about here. It's criminal behavior, and a certain amount of that money as well will be used for other criminal endeavors. So ultimately, it's good. It's good if we shut this off at source. I'm all for it.
Right. I like what you said there too about, they had to explain to their parents why, they need a new motherboard. Like that's huge, because that's going to be a teaching moment, I guess, for the kid that, because like normally like a parent would have to be really, really involved with their child's gaming to know that they're cheating. Yes. So for them to have to be like, well, I was banned, like I got like a hardware ban, which means that I cheated in a video game and they don't like that, and now I can't play. And then that gives a chance for the parent to actually learn that their kid is cheating in video games and can teach their child to maybe not do that anymore, and hopefully it'll stop them in the long run, just like you're saying. Like it's huge. Hardware bans could be so beneficial for everybody. So Domi, what do you got on this one, man?
But like, let's be honest, if they're the kind of person who's probably going to cheat in a game, and they are like young little Timmy, they're going to tell their parents they cheated in the game and that's why they can't use the same motherboard. No, they're going to be like, there's one kid like hacked into my account and like he broke it that way. And then the parent who doesn't know better is like, oh, well, like, how, like, what were you doing? I don't know. I was just playing my game like normally, and it was his fault. Trust me, kids are buttholes. They lie about everything. I was the only kid in school.
Absolutely, but if again, like their parents would be like, why do you?
The other thing is as well, though, if you cut, like, parents know when their kids are lying. Like every single one of us thought we were lying to our parents and we were getting away with it. They knew we were lying. Sometimes they just decided they couldn't be bothered with discipline. I can't be bothered with this today. Yeah, okay. And so, but if little Timmy starts talking about somebody hacked in and just using that as a specific, the parents are going to get angry. Wait, you have to pay out because someone did this to you? All of a sudden, there's an investigation into this. Do you know what I mean? Like, to me, this, and you're right, some of them will get away with it. Absolutely. But there's far less of them will get away with it than currently do, If they're getting banned from a game, say they're getting banned for COD, and they're saying to their parents, I need a new game. They don't need to tell them it's a new copy of COD. Just a new game. You know what I mean? A motherboard, like actual hardware, that's different. You know, wait, what's going on here? I just got you that PC. You know what I mean? It's like, to me, and I'm not saying, look, at the end of the day, there's always going to be a percentage of people that will always cheat regardless of the punishment. We know that. That applies in all life and all types of breaking the rules. There are people out there, it doesn't matter. They're going to do it. Do you know what I mean? But but the percentage of people that are like that, let's call them the hardcore, right? You'll never stop them. You'll never stop them. But you can stop a whole bunch, the vast majority of people, just by making it more difficult for them. Do you know what I mean? And up until now, companies haven't bothered. They really, really haven't. The measures that we've seen now, it's spitting in the wind. You know, like every new season, we see Call of Duty roll out X amount of bans. Those accounts they're remade.
Right.
You know? There needs to be real consequences. And to me, this is the first step. I mean, yeah, as I say, the thing that gets me about it is that it's taken them this long. This infringes on their money making. You know, there are certain games that I won't buy, I won't spend any more money on because of hackers. They've ruined it for me. You know what I mean? And I'm not the only person like that. There's plenty, you know, and so they're losing out on revenue while revenue's being made. And that's why I'm like, why haven't you done something yet? Like, why aren't you out here giving it? That's their IP, like, you know.
Right.
So maybe this is start.
MPI made a good point as well. He says there's also a chance that a lot of kids are gaming on laptops, not replacing that motherboard easily. It's a good point, because I mean, it's true. I mean, I think a lot of kids probably are gaming on laptops, and it's not like you can just replace a motherboard on one.
Yeah.
You guys got anything else on this one, Sadomi?
So for those people who play games like the freemium, like area games and the like small shooters back in 2005, 2008, that range, y'all know how bad cheats can get in games and how bad they do not want you to play. You don't want to play them afterwards.
Right.
Your first match, you go into a lobby, there's a guy with 127 kills in a 2-minute match.
Yeah.
You spawn in, it's like, oh, so this is how the game's played. And then it just ruins the whole experience. I'm sure a lot of those games died simply because you go in and then just boom, cheats.
Right.
You can't play the game. And let's be honest, most people who cheat probably also aren't directly spending money on the game itself too. I'd probably say.
Yeah. I would say so. And because, I mean, I know for a fact that using Siege as an example, every single time there was a free weekend, which was followed up by a reduced price for the game, they would see huge sales. And, you know, they would say, oh, it's all new people coming in. The majority of that's hackers that are buying their accounts at a quarter of the price of the normal, and they're buying 5 and 6 accounts because they know that's the many they'll need until the next free weekend comes around, you know. So yeah, you know, like the money that they're making is negligible on these people. You know, they buy that's the other thing. They buy hacked accounts. You know, accounts where people don't have 2-factor, or it's an old account that they're not using as much. They buy those as well. There's a spate of being able to buy Siege accounts for under $1. Under $1 for an entire game account. Do you know what I mean? For a game that would normally retail, even on sale, you're looking at $10. Do you know what I mean? So they're making fractional money here off the cheaters. And the goodwill and what that transforms into from people, that's where that's where you get your long-term investment. Goodwill, you know what I mean? Like, you know, if a game is like, if you know that you play an FPS game and it has some trouble with hackers, but they are on it, you're willing to support that game because they're the only one out there that's doing it, you know, like, so you know, they really need to start listening to the actual fair players in the game, the ones that are following the rules, because they've been ignoring them for too long.
Yeah, and it's smart that they did this now, because if the content creators on Twitch or any streaming service or YouTube, or whether, you know, anything, if people start complaining enough to their own viewers about how bad a game is, especially the top level content creators, like I said, like Tim the Tatman and Nick Mercs, if they're complaining and like questioning whether or not how they want to continue playing Call of Duty, a lot of people that follow them are probably going to jump in the same boat, because a game is only relevant as long as it's relevant on Twitch right now.
Yep.
For the most part, like there's still outliers. Like, don't get me wrong, like there's plenty of games that do well outside of Twitch. But for the most part, like Twitch is so necessary to keep a game, like a game's community alive. And so this is amazing, an amazing thing for Call of Duty. And I can't wait to see what they do in the future as far as like continuing to just promote how can I say this? Just clean gameplay. You know what I mean? Like this, it's just nice. It's really nice. Did anybody else have anything on this topic?
No,
all right.
Good.
All right. By the way, chat, if you guys have any questions for us, just make sure to do at Velokk_TV and at TRUgaming, TRUgaming in the Twitch chat, and we'll try to answer that as fast as possible. If it's any questions about the topic that we're discussing, about any tips that we have as streamers for you, or any questions you have about your own channel and how you can change something or do anything better, just let us know, because that's really what this podcast is all about. It's just helping people as much as possible. And then on top of that, we do these discussions about, you know, like what's going on in the Twitch universe and streaming universe, and a little bit of gaming. But originally, like this channel was started to help you guys, and we really do want to do that. So if you have any questions, please make sure to ask us, and we will be more than happy to help you. So next topic we have is Shroud is now the fastest growing Twitch streamer. So everybody knows that Shroud is back on Twitch now after the Mixer shutdown. So within the last 30 days, at least at this time of the article, within the last 30 days, he received 1,081,831 followers, which puts him in third place for most followed channel on Twitch at 8.1 million follows. Tfue is in second place with 8.9 million. So they're kind of like that. Like 0.8 million is like not a small number, but when you compare 8.1 to 8.9, like Shroud's catching up for sure. So Tfue has 8.9 in second place. Ninja is still in first place with 15 million, which is a just insane number. But it's just showing that Shroud could definitely take that, especially with Ninja not necessarily streaming as much on Twitch right now. Like he's been, in and out. He hasn't had like a real stream schedule. You know what I mean? Starting with Sadomi, what do you think about this, man?
So the first thing I thought was a lot of people probably got really butthurt that Shroud moved to Mixer, so they unfollowed him that way. Now that he came back on Twitch, like, oh my god, my hero was on Twitch again, and then they followed him back. So I think that does something to it. Plus, also the buzz from like, oh hey, Mixer died. Way, let's go see what Shroud's doing.
Right.
And then also his YouTube's been popping off too quite a bit. I haven't done super hard deep dive research into exactly how much it has, but I've noticed he's been uploading consistently. He's been going through that a lot, even since he's been on Mixer. So that's something helped keep him afloat. And then once he made that announcement, that was the biggest news on Twitch. People who didn't even like care about Shroud were like, yeah, we'll go check him out. First day of hype, you call it. So I definitely think that he is growing, and I don't doubt he will be passing Tfue, because I think he is more relevant than Tfue right now.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
In regards.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how things goes. Unless the FaZe lawsuit makes a breakthrough, then we'll see. But
right, absolutely. DoggGaming, what do you got on this, man?
I mean, when I first seen the headline, I was like, yeah, no, yeah, duh.
Right.
But reading in at the stats and everything, I've seen that it's a little bit more detailed than that. Yeah, I can easily see him beating Tfue. 15 million, though. I mean, the article's quite positive about him reaching that, but like he's not going to gain a million each month. He's not like this first 30 days. That's going to drop off. Do you know what I mean? 15 million is like crazy numbers. It's just crazy numbers. I wonder as well about that. I was thinking about that 15 million. I was wondering when Ninja streamed with Drake, wasn't it? There was a lot of people came onto Twitch that had never didn't even know what Twitch was, and I do wonder how many of those accounts are there, followed and aren't used anymore. Do you know what I mean? Not that changes anything with his 15 million, because it's crazy. Right. It's crazy numbers, But as for him beating Ninja, I don't know. That's going to have to go some. He'll have to go some, to my mind, to beat him. But just getting onto the whole Shroud back on Twitch, I think it's fantastic. To be honest, Shroud is one of my favorite streamers because regardless of the fact that he's one of the top 5 easily streamers in the world, he's so down to earth, and he gets what content creation is about from beyond a monetary point of view. And I know Tim does this as well. He shares his viewers with just small channels. He has that whole sort of wholesome Twitchness that we want to see and more, especially in more bigger streamers. Where he recognizes that we are a community, regardless of how big we are or how different we are, or whereabouts in the world we are. And I'm really glad to see him back, very much so. But as for beating Ninja, don't know about that.
I mean, it could happen. It's I mean, like we said a long time ago when Shroud had been streaming on Mixer for a little bit, like we saw the dip in relevancy that happened because he was streaming to less people. You know what I mean? And now he's consistently getting, I think he's consistently getting at least like 20,000 viewers. He gets up to like 70 or 80,000 every once in a while, depending on the game, I'm pretty sure. But if he continues to do well with Twitch and continues to stay relevant and, do things that are kind of like game changing in the industry. Like I heard a rumor about him looking into making a new FPS game or something like that. I don't know if that's the thing that he's actually doing, but that would be really cool. Everybody would 100% back a new competitive FPS game if it was backed by Shroud. You know what I mean? Because like Shroud is one of the top competitive FPS gamers probably of all time, I would say. I don't want to say that he's the best because I don't know for a fact, but he's easily, arguably one of the best competitive gamers out there for FPS gaming and content creators as well, because he has a little bit of both as far as being an entertaining person and really good at games. So if he continues to stay relevant on Twitch, I think eventually down the road he could surpass Ninja if Ninja doesn't come back to being a relevant streamer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Shroud will be relevant on Twitch for a very long time.
Yes.
Just because he has evolved himself to not be like, you don't know Shroud just for PUBG or just for CS:GO. He has a whole genre, which a lot of streamers do not have. Some people do, like, but you don't see many of those people. For instance, even like, I think the only people I think will come to mind who don't do that is like Tim, Summit, and everyone else back at the top there. Even Ninja is mostly still Fortnite. Like you think Fortnite, you think Ninja. Okay. If Fortnite is completely like gone. Ninja's only going to have like whatever in the public sphere is still going to be around for him there. Okay. Like he is ascendant past Twitch, and I think career-wise, he's the smartest guy going out there. Yeah, Shroud's going to be around until FPS gaming itself dies, which keyword, it never will.
Nope.
Yeah.
People like shooting things.
Exactly. And as you point out, though, I mean, Shroud isn't averse to sitting playing World of Warcraft for 12 hours.
Right.
Like he will hit other demographics that Ninja and such just aren't touching. They're just not in that sphere. And which means that he does have more of a chance to be known wider, you know? Like, if you get people that are MMO, they don't like FPS, they probably heard of Ninja, but the chances of them ever having been in his channel, no. But they've probably been in Shrouds because they've seen him doing, he did a 24-hour World of Warcraft stream. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, he's definitely got a far broader play, amount of games to play. I
understand what you're saying. So like basically what he's getting at is that Shroud he's just aside from his amazing skills at FPS gaming, he just seems like a genuine gamer. He just seems like the kind of guy that like we all are, you know what I mean? Like everybody on Twitch wants to be like just somebody that enjoys a wide variety of games, and it's cool to see him stream all those different games and not just focus on, Valorant or CS:GO or whatever. It's just cool to see somebody who's super skilled but also just loves gaming just because he likes games.
So to touch on the thing about you were saying about him being He's definitely not the most talented professional FPS player that there's been, or that even that there is just now.
Right.
But he is, when it comes to content creation, there's no other content creator out there that is consistent as him, that is playing at the level that he's playing at.
Right.
You know, and you can look. I know that there's great players. I know you've got the likes of Symphony and stuff like that. Shroud has been doing that level on stream for years.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And that's a huge thing. What you get with Shroud is guaranteed. This, you know what I mean? He's got that steadiness that, you know, we're going to go in and we'll see something spectacular happen.
He's consistently amazing.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no ups and downs. There's no, and it's the same with his character. I think that's another thing for me as well. He's such a calm, you know. You see him get absolutely rinsed. Oh well. You know, it gets shrugged off. You know what I mean? And it, like, I think that's another great thing about him is that, unfortunately, and I know that I'm prone to this as well. FPS genre is rage-inducing, and we can, you know, we all lean into it from time to time at the very least. And Shroud is a lot less. You're not really going to see that. You're not going to see, you know, like spit flecked at the side of the mouth as he loses his mind. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Shrugs and get on with it. You know. So yeah, ultimately, it's great to see him back. It's fantastic to see him back, and I do hope that there's a company out there looking to get his input on an FPS game. He knows what we're looking for. He sits and plays games for so long. He talks to chat. He's part of the FPS scene in every single game. You know what I mean? And so I do hope there's companies out there looking at people like him and saying, "Hey, let's get these people on board and get their input. Let's use these experts with thousands and thousands of hours of in-game time to tell us what we should be doing."
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else got anything on this? Sadomi, you got anything? Nope. All right. Yeah, like I said, chat, if you guys have any questions about us, about your own channel or any of the topics that we're talking about, make sure to at myself and at TRUgaming in the Twitch chat, and we'll get right to it. Also, if you happen to be listening to this and it's not live while you're listening to it or watching it, add us on Twitter or join up in the Discord and ask us there, and we will definitely get to your question next week for sure. Next topic we have is, after Crucible's flop, Amazon's new MMO is actually doing well on Twitch. If you guys heard anything about Crucible, you probably heard it be compared to Anthem. Not so much because of the hype that was built up around it, but because of how much of a terrible game it ended up being. Basically, Crucible did so bad it got put back into beta, which I can't think of a game that's happened to. Like, it's unfortunately bad. You know what I mean? Especially for Amazon's first game that they tried to develop. It didn't go well. But this one, New World, it actually looks really, really cool. It honestly, I've never gotten into MMOs, and I'm trying to get a key. So if you have a key and you want to hook your boy up, you know, I'm right here. But anyway, I am trying to get a key, and it's really hard to do. But this game, it looks really good, and it's cool that Amazon is, you know, doing something right this time. On the first day of this game being streamable on Twitch, and, you know, where you can share content with it, it had over 300,000 concurrent viewers on its first day, which is almost triple what Crucible's was, which was just about a little over 100,000. So it's already doing a lot better. It's cool to see Amazon doing games that work. You know what I mean? Hopefully it continues to do so. Hopefully it doesn't flop in the end. We'll start with DoggGaming. What do you got on this one, man?
Well, MMOs aren't really my normal genre, but I've seen quite a few people playing it. One of my friends has been playing it with a group of other streamers and such, and he's fairly enjoying it at the moment. It's obviously, the game as it is just now it's not actually fully released.
No,
they're calling it a preview. So the game's scheduled to be released in 2021. And one of the interesting things about it is this: if you pre-purchase it just now, right, you can play the preview and cancel your purchase at any time. You won't have access to the preview at that point, but you'll get your money back. So you can literally play the game for a deposit, if you will, for the next year. You know, and if you don't like it, you could get your money back at any time in that year. You know, it won't affect you. So that is something that's interesting as well, because they're putting the product out there and say, hey, you know, vote with your wallet if you want. Do you know what I mean? I was speaking to someone the other day who is desperate to play it because they are sick of World of Warcraft, and that's the article itself that you provided. They were saying something similar. Like, there's a lot of people out there that are looking for the next WoW killer, because for a myriad of different reasons. But I think one of the big things is, I mean, World of Warcraft's what, 12 years old? Is it older than that? Maybe you know. Like, I think people are a bit sick of it, you know, a bit tired of it. Do you know what I mean? And so the market's ripe for a new game. So it will be interesting to see. I think they've went about it the right way for a change. The way that they've given out the keys and such, allowing a hype to be gained around the streams that are being watched, and also people to get the chance to get some keys as well and get it out there and get it played. Very much. I think some companies need to look more at how Valorant worked. Valorant, that worked. Like, for that first few months, Valorant was like, wow, this is crazy hype, you know. And it's died down a great deal, you know, but that just proves even more how much the strategy was successful at the beginning, you know. So yeah, I think Amazon are doing well with this. Personally, I might try the game. I don't know. I'm not, as I say, MMOs aren't really my thing. They're a bit slow for me. I'm a bit hyperactive. I need hyperactive games.
Right. The thing that looks really cool about this one compared to other MMOs, which is like, this is the main reason why I'm at all interested in this one, is that like World of Warcraft, it's a very automated feeling combat system where you just click and then your character does everything for you. Whereas this one, you're performing the actions yourself. It has more of like a maybe an ESO style of gameplay, but it still looks a little bit better than that, in my opinion. I'm really excited for it. I really hope that it does well. Sadomi, what do you got on this one, man?
So looking at the stats for Crucible, I looked up 3 games that kind of did recent releases and had different trends. Crucible, Fall Guys, and Valorant. And the way I judge a game based on the Switch directory is how often it's going up, when it's going up, and if you see the same names up top. Crucible is dead right now.
Yes. Yep.
Like, I can't explain how dead that is. I think Mega Man Legends has more viewers right now.
How's Anthem doing?
What's Anthem?
Yeah, okay. All right.
Wow. Savage.
No, wait. Like, what is it?
My man is no chill.
Do you actually not know?
The EA game that was kind of supposed to be
it was supposed to be like a Destiny killer, basically, and it ended up being way worse. I say that because I didn't like Destiny in the first place, which I don't. I'm sorry.
Fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially, Crucible, it could make a comeback, but I think the negative PR around it has already killed like any major possibility of that game having like major top success. Even Rainbow Six didn't have as bad of press when it first started out. So at one point it got like really bad and people were just like, this game's trash, it's horrible, and then it kind of came back.
That's right.
But I don't know. And I think and I'm not sure if Amazon will pull the plug on it at some point sooner rather than later and be like, okay, let's try again, or okay, let's get out of space. We're not doing it. It's too volatile, waste too much money on it. But Amazon has money they can use. As we know, they're probably the 3rd or 4th biggest company in America right now.
Right.
And
I don't see Crucible making any kind of meaningful comeback.
No, there's no way.
The FPS genre, if you don't make it straight away, the genre moves so fast. There's always so many FPS games out, you know? Like, if you don't make your mark, you're lost, you know?
Right.
I mean, Ubi's recent game, Hyperscape, they're desperate just now to make it relevant. There's free emotes all over Twitch for you at the moment, you know? They are pushing them hard, you know? They've lost the opportunity to be relevant, and they won't be relevant. That's it. You know, the new Call of Duty's out soon. Who's got time for Hyperscape? Do you know what I mean? That's the issue with the FPS genre. It's so quick moving. There's a new FPS title out at least every quarter. You know,
right?
And so you have to make your mark. You have to be, and because of that as well. I mean, the fans of FPS games, there's a huge amount of them are very fickle because of it.
Mm-hmm.
So another one coming out, I don't care, that one's gone,
Right.
So honestly, Crucible, to me, it's dead.
Right.
I mean, I think Hyperscape's dead. I'm going to be honest. I think they're fighting a losing battle there.
They might be. I just actually downloaded Hyperscape this morning because I was like, you know what, I'll try it. I could use like a new thing to try out and see how it goes. I probably won't keep it for very long because I don't think I'm gonna like it that much. But I figured it's free, so I'll try it.
That's fair.
When it comes to PR, like you were saying, sorry, Sadomi. Just think of like No Man's Sky. You know what I mean? Like that game made amazing comebacks to it, and nobody's playing it. Like there's still some for sure, but like it's not what it should have been. Not like the game is what it should have been now, but it's too late. It's too late. Exactly.
Yeah. The bad feeling is built up too much. So just before you say it, Hyperscape's got 1,600 viewers on Twitch just now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you look at the directory? Make sure, because sometimes you could get a game that, sometimes Britney Spears' just pop princess is in the top 10 because freaking some streamer from Finland with 50K.
Yeah, the highest person is streaming with about 280 people in it.
Oh, that's good.
And I would say that's probably more to do with them again rather than the game. But 1,600 viewers for a game that was released less than 2 months ago.
I
mean, that's you're sinking fast.
So banking off of that, do you guys think we're getting to a point in the Twitch ecosystem and kind of gaming as a whole too, where games are releasing too fast?
I would say so.
In a way, yes, because I feel like sometimes you don't have time to play those games, because there's already so much hype around another one. I'm still wrapped up in Call of Duty even through the bad times that game has been going through, and it's kept me from installing games like Hyperscape until now. You know what I mean? So to an extent, yes, but also at the same time, companies are starting to realize that you can't just put out they've known this. I'm not saying they're stupid, but they're starting to realize that your game needs to be on point when it's released, because if you can't keep that hype rolling with it, you're not going to build it back.
I think the opposite is true, because that games move so fast, you can kind of cut certain corners and put things out. That's why we see so many games do day one patches, have those on screen, just the small bugs you notice that you're they could have spent 10 hours in R&D fixing, but then it's those 10 hours taken out somewhere. So because if your games move so fast, let's say multiplayer games are a good example. Once a multiplayer game loses that hype, it loses player base, and then it dies. It costs money to keep it going. So the only reason you keep it going and you keep updating it is that it's making money. If it's not making money, then it doesn't make sense as a business to keep it going. Single player games are different. Single player games, those can exist forever.
Right.
Yeah, I can play God of War 1.
Yeah, but you get one major sale off them.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different game you have to play. If, for instance, let's say I played what's a dead MMO game? A dead online game.
Guild Wars? How's that doing?
I think Guild Wars might be one of those. It might be a whale-filled community. What I mean is people who've invested into the game already.
Yeah, I got you.
This is my favorite game ever. I still play it 10 years later.
Yeah.
And guess what? My paycheck, 10% of that's going straight to Guild Wars because I like this skin. And you know what? Screw it. I've been doing it for 10 years anyway. Might as well do it. So I think that game is fine keeping up. Again, I don't have any data, so I can't say for sure. But when it comes to any dead game, multiplayer game, where it takes you an hour to find a game with other people, we'll say any fighting game that's no, things don't work. It's a peer-to-peer. Any game that uses servers, that's it costs money to keep the servers up. So the more games release over it, they kind of we have to get those initial sales and get as much as we can, and then we hope we can keep it up until the player base dwindles enough until it dies. And I think that cycle's getting closer and closer to being shorter and shorter, to the point where it's okay, we buy this game, and then 3 months later, only 10% of the player base is still on it, and then 6 months later, 5%, and then 9 months later, 5%, 9%, and then eventually just 0.
Right.
But see, what I would say in counter to that, and you're right, but what I would say in counter to that is if they took less time, if they took more time to make the games, made them more stable, less likely to be bug filled, less likely to have issues. It did more for the hacker problem if we're talking about FPS, right? The people would, the player base would stay longer. A huge amount of what fritters away people to begin with are issues in the game, right? Like, you know, and that's always something that will always fritter people out, because, like, you know, sooner or later, I can't be arsed with that bug. You know, like, do you know how many times I've died because that thing is broken? You know, and that chases people out the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
So again, we're talking about goodwill. And for me, one of the issues that we have in gaming at the moment is that they rush games out, is that they're more likely to be broken and bug filled, and is that devs are under pressure and can't get the game out the way they actually wanted the game to go out. You know, we lose out. We know from the latest fallout of what happened at Ubi. We've lost stuff in games that we were meant to get. There was things that were meant to be in games for us that didn't get put in because time schedule, get it out. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, again, I think it comes down to the balance between the initial cash that you can make on the big hype of a new game and the goodwill that you can have and what you can earn from that goodwill. You know, that goodwill can be a solid earner for you, you know, where if you know, I know for example, again, I'll use that Dota, right? The goodwill that I had for that game, I've spent £400 or £500 in that game. It's a free to play game. Do you know what I mean? I've spent more money on it than any other game that I've played, right? Because of the goodwill. Why? Because as much as the MOBA drove me mental, the game was balanced. It ran well. There was no bugs. There's no cheaters. There's a, you know what I mean? I could rely. It's a reliable game that I could always know it will play out like this. Which, especially when you're talking about multiplayer games, that's what you need. People want a consistent experience, right? They want to know it will always be like this because that's what I rely on for this game to work. You know,
right?
And a huge issue we have at the moment is games companies aren't guaranteeing us that. They're not giving us this consistency. And when that happens, people are like, you know what? I'm out of here. Do you know what I mean? So again, I personally think they release games too quickly, and to the detriment of their own profits, and certainly to the detriment of our own the customers' enjoyment. You know?
Right.
Yeah. It's each game that gets released. Like every time a game gets delayed, that can cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
Like Cyberpunk 2020 probably spent, if I had to guess for all the delays and everything, at least, I don't know the exact price, but from how much work they put into it, probably like a few million probably to delay it. Simply
maybe.
Because you have the marketing department, they have to extend their marketing out, you have to keep them hired. Developers have to keep them hired longer because each time you pay, some people, like after some games are done, teams are like, okay, get out the studio. We don't need you more. We need to save money. Get out. Literally everybody else on top of it. It's you have so many more costs with the delaying a game. Sometimes from a business perspective, it's do we just cut our losses and just like get the game out, see how it does, then release a patch if like it does well, and if it flops, we just save the money and just say no, you don't touch it anymore.
Right.
So, well, I would love to say that it'd be great if we could make sure every game has proper development time. That's never going to happen because the producers want the game out as fast as possible. Developers want the game to be as good as possible, and marketing wants the perfect timeline to release everything on time. So those three factors all fighting each other tooth and nail. Like, we need 3 more months. No, we're not paying 3 more months. You get 1 more month. No, we need to keep it exactly on time. No, it's just a boardroom battle, and it does not seem fun.
Oh yeah.
So, do you think that game development companies are announcing games too early then? Because that would, I mean, if Cyberpunk would have waited, let's say 2 years to even announce that there was a new game coming out, you know what I mean? The delays wouldn't be as big of a deal. There's no hype to try to maintain, you know what I mean? Like, you can just, if you wait longer, like, yeah, it sucks because you're putting in a lot of work into this game. But if you can assure that the game that you're making is going to be great, and then by the time that you release like the announcement trailer or anything about it, like, you know that things are heading in the right direction. You're not like already scrambling to get content together just for an announcement. You know what I mean? If you have like a solid direction of the game, it's going really well. maybe that's when you should start announcing your stuff. You know what I mean? Like instead of jumping the gun just to build up hype and then have so much time for error ahead of you.
Well, the issue there is though is that they're so tied into quarterly profits and returns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is that huge issue. Is so many of the companies, especially the big companies, Ubi, EA, all these companies, they are hugely tied into we did this in this quarter, which completely goes against the idea of creativity.
Right.
You know? I think
Absolutely.
ultimately, what we're talking about here is games, which is an art form. Making games is an art form. Writing the story for games, everything. It's part of an art form. And when you start taking art and putting restrictions on it, time restrictions based around your profits, it will inevitably suffer. It doesn't matter what art field you do it in. You know what I mean? If you tell a bunch of dancers that they've got a week to get together something that they would normally take a month, it won't be as good. It just won't.
Yeah.
You know? And so the real issue is that what we've got here is we've got companies putting short-term profit margins over the long-term enjoyment of gamers.
Yes.
Right? Because ultimately what they know is we'll put another one out in 3 months and we'll still make money off it anyway. You know? And in a lot of ways, it's really, for someone as old as myself who's seen the games industry grow, start and grow, you know? We've moved from a time where games were made by gamers for gamers to a time now where gamers make games at the behest of the people that hold the purse strings. Do you know what I mean? And because of that, the actual aim has changed completely, and our entertainment and games longevity and franchise titles have all suffered because of the short termism of it all. And that's ultimately where the real issue lies. You know,
right.
I get Sadomi's right. You know, you've got that argument, that three-way argument, right? And I know what you're saying about marketing, but I take marketing out of it. You know, the real argument's between the money men and the devs. The devs knowing how much time they really need to get what they really want done, and the money men saying, we can't really give you that. We'll give you something. We'll give you something. You know, that's where the real issue is, because you go back far enough, and the devs owned the company, so they said we need this time, so that's what we'll do. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, sorry. Keep going. My bad.
No, that's okay. To me, we've got to find a better balance between profits and actual enjoyment, like product quality. You know.
Let's also talk about development too for a sec. So, how many times have you? Let's use actually a more ground example. How many times you set a to-do list for like your household chores or like your projects for like one single day and get everything done on that to-do list on that day?
Never.
Exactly.
Pretty much never.
Us as humans, we just overestimate how much we can do in a day.
100%.
Like we completely overestimate. Now imagine that spanned out over the course of a whole project that takes multiple years. Add into that the fact that technology changes so fast. Like for instance, learning and it's all other hiccups, and you have a 1,000 moving pieces, especially for big budget titles. I'd say nearly 1,000 plus people worked on probably Cyberpunk at this point.
Yeah, sure.
And no matter how small that piece was, all of them have to work together, and everyone has to be on time. Do everything. And so, how many times? Like, I doubt you would have 1,000 people all be perfect on the ball all the time.
No,
exactly. And then with, let's say, oh my gosh, new consoles coming out, new drivers, new technologies, new engines, new like just standards. And also they're creating, most top AAA studios are trying to create a brand new experience too. So they're probably experimenting as they're going. So when something doesn't work, they have to go back to the drawing board and like redo it up. So it's no surprise that things get delayed just from the fact of the scale and the scope of these projects. It'd be actually weird. I'd be scared if a game came out completely on time,
of course,
without even internal like
absolutely.
Push
I have a question for you guys. So you see like really big artists, like I know Eminem has done it for at least a few of his albums, where he'll just release an album. He won't announce anything prior. There's just a new album that you can listen to on Spotify. And obviously with the outreach that Eminem has, he doesn't necessarily need to market because people are going to be talking about it as soon as it releases. Like someone's going to find out. A lot of people are going to find out immediately, and then word's going to spread about it, and people are going to really just appreciate that, on this unexpected day, there's, some new content that they can consume. You know what I mean? So do you guys think you could start seeing like really big titles, like say another Cyberpunk coming out, like just randomly? Like, I know that they rely a lot on pre-orders. I know that's a huge thing, and so you kind of need to have some hype to do that. But how awesome do you think it would be if just one day there was a Cyberpunk scale game that was just, that was made really, really well? They made sure that it was a fun game on launch, very few bugs, we'll say minimal bugs. Like, it was just a really fun game. You had no idea about it. How many people do you think would be freaking out on that day, supporting that developer for releasing a game that they had no idea was coming out, but played amazingly, was fun? It was just an immersive game. Like, how popular do you think that would be? Like, I feel like that could, like, I feel like somebody needs to try it.
Is it free? Is it free, or is it still $60?
Let's say a $60 game, since we're talking about like Cyberpunk.
I mean, when was the last time you bought something for $60 completely sober, just like
off the cuff?
This looks good.
Yeah, but if the game looks really good, then by all means I would totally do it. But if it's a game that people are questioning, or if it seems wonky in certain areas, then by all means I'm definitely gonna wait for sure, no matter what it is. But if it's like if it's a high quality game, I might be willing to spend the money on it within the first week of it launching.
So I think what you would see is you would see it would certainly gain interest. There would certainly be a certain amount of interest. Would it have the same level of interest straight away? Of course not. It just couldn't. Right. It absolutely couldn't. But I think you mentioned Eminem, and I think maybe the difference between some of these artists being able to do it and gaming is that these artists, whilst obviously there will be young people that listen to them, that's not their main audience. A huge percentage of gaming's audience is children, and they've got the attention span. Well, like they need they need it constantly on them because there's something else that they're looking at. Do you know what I mean? True. Which is one of the reasons that the games are so hyped up to begin with. You're trying to make a huge amount of it as, like, of course we all get hyped for games, right? But the vast majority of hype isn't coming from people our age. Do you know what I mean? It's coming from.
It could though with content creators.
Also.
Yes. Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Also, think about it like this too. The barrier to entry is huge. If a new album drops, you just go on Spotify and click play, and the only thing you lose is your time.
True. No, 100%. Like, I totally understand the ease of access that a song or an album has compared to a large scale video game. But like, say like this company worked with like a couple content creators like Tim the Tatman, Nick Merckx, or PewDiePie, whoever, like top level content creators, kept it, NDA until launch day, and said like, you can pre-install this game, so on launch day, like, you'll be one of the first content creators that has access to it. So I mean, all those people that are watching that are going to see how amazing and fun that game is if it actually was a good game. And
so using influencer marketing then, right?
Absolutely, 100%. Like you don't necessarily need to like announce a game 3 years before you even think it might possibly be close to releasing. You know what I mean? Like, you have these things like Twitch, YouTube, you have all these other avenues to gain hype and to market yourself. You don't necessarily need to risk it so much with putting out an announcement 4 or 5 years before you launch the game, if there's crazy delays. You know what I mean? I think it would be really interesting, because if I saw Nick Merckx playing a new game that looked amazing, and if it was $60, I might hesitate for sure. If it was a free game, I would probably check it out. If it looked amazing, like, I would probably do it that day.
Yeah. So let's also look at this from like who would do this. So you see this similar from some franchises, but they're never large franchises, because if you have a pre-established IP, if you know a new Zelda's coming out in a year from now, that's more beneficial than, hey, brand new full title Zelda coming out today. Right. Because you also have to remember too, other games release at certain times too. And that's technically competition right there. Because even if you want the new Zelda, if there's a new Mario Party, there's a new Rocket League expansion, there's a new Dragon Ball Z game, Most people won't be able to get all 4 of those. And even though if you want to spread it out, you're then competing against every other game down the line that you may want to. And then over time, it gets to sense your backlog. And I'm not sure if I'm different or I'm like everybody else here, but if I don't buy a game on release, I have a 100% less chance of buying it. Not 100, but like 95% less chance of buying it the later down it goes. Because more and more games do come out and more competition for that.
That's fair.
And unless it's on sale, then if it's on sale, you're not getting full profit cuts and you're losing cash some way or another. And if you put a game on sale, that means you're either trying to push sales or you're not. You're trying to push sales, trying to get more sales, which means you need the money.
Yeah.
Now, with a brand new IP, you don't have that trust. Like even if I don't care what you say, whatever your favorite soda is, if you have that right next to you, and I tell you, hey, try this soda right here. If you don't know, like, or trust me, if I'm just a random person, you'd be like, I might be good. I'm good. I don't know what that is. But if it's you and me, we're hanging out and a thing, I'm like, yo, try this beer. And you're like, oh, cool, I'll try it. Cool. Why not? Boom.
How is that different than watching a streamer, though? You know what I mean? How is that different than watching a new streamer or a streamer playing the game the day it launches and you have no idea about the game until then? Like the amount of hype that could build up, that like this company just released a huge game that's amazing today. Nobody knew about it. They didn't say shit. Like, I understand that like new IPs are scary for sure, but if it's from a trusted developer, like let's keep using CD Projekt Red for right now. Like everybody's been super happy with what they've done so far. You know what I mean? And everybody expects that Cyberpunk's going to do well for the most part. So if it say Cyberpunk does well, and then eventually down the line they do another game of that scale, like you have no reason to not trust CD Projekt Red after that. Because if they consistently put out good content, then there's no real reason to like try to like garner hype beforehand. You know what I mean? If you could just get it that day, not spend the money on the marketing, make sure that your game launches when it technically should be launching, not when you want it to launch. You know what I mean? Like and what I mean by that is like it should be launching when the game is done. Like when the game is like actually done, it's mostly bug free. It feels fun. It feels like a consistent game all the way through. I like that. To me, like that's exciting. I'm not gonna lie.
No,
it's an exciting concept. I agree, but I think from a practicality standpoint, it is not worth the general risk because the value of impressions, people really don't understand how valuable impressions are. The minute if I show someone StreamKey 4 times, they're more likely to watch it, like by exponential amounts. If I just post, if I like send a text to my friend like, "Hey, I'm doing this show called StreamKey, you should turn into it." Like, yeah, sure, I'll turn in. Then they don't. But I'm like, "Hey, yo, I do StreamKey. What's StreamKey? I do this. StreamKey. Eventually, they see StreamKey like, "Oh yeah, Sadomi's on that," and then they'll click it, they'll check it out. Literally the same for anything. And so you want to gather those impressions. You want to get people to see it so it's in their mind beforehand. Because let's say, honestly, if you just do it with streamers going through, when they don't want to play the game anymore, they're not bound by their contract to like play it anymore, and they don't decide to keep up with it, people who didn't see it, it then dies. You're not going to click the video
unless the game is still that much fun to where they're still making content for it.
Like I said, yeah, if they do, then cool. People who are looking for that content, people who know about the game, and people who know about the content creator. But guess what? If you don't know about the game or the content creator, then you're not going to see the game. Just point blank, you're not going to see it.
Right.
That is not going to happen. Unless you see a. Go ahead.
So are you suggest so the way this would work, Velokk, instead of having that marketing money spent beforehand, that gets spent from the day that the game gets released.
Yeah, essentially. You know what I mean? Like you're working on things behind the scenes for sure, but then that makes it so that you're not like time crunched. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if there's no like we need this released by right now, and then say it doesn't happen, like Cyberpunk's already getting delayed. It's been delayed a few times. Like that already like makes some of the hype die down in the first place, and it makes it look bad in a bunch of different ways. Even though we do trust Cyberpunk, like it would take a lot of stress off of the developers, in my opinion, if they didn't have like a deadline that had to be met, which could make for a lot better gameplay potentially. You know what I mean? Like you could put all those things into a game that you said you were going to put into it.
Honestly, in an ideal world, yes.
Yeah. I'm not saying like 100% it would work. I'm just saying like I feel like it'd be really cool if a company were to attempt this and if they pulled it off well.
I think it could work. I do think it could work. But like Sadomi said, I don't think any company is prepared to take that risk.
Right.
There's
Yeah,
an outlay. There's an
right.
outlay there. And we can see that. You're right. They're saving on the marketing expenses that they would normally spend in the lead up, but
Mhm.
there's still a huge outlay, and it's a huge gamble. Because
Right.
you're relying on, you're trusting that your game will launch fine, no issues, because it has to. Because that's the other thing. On launch day, it has to launch when using Nick Mertz and stuff again. When Nick Mertz loads that stream up, here's the new game. You've never seen it before. If
Mhm.
that game doesn't run smoothly, boom, that's it.
Mhm.
You've lost it already. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah,
people's
absolutely.
first impression is Nick Mertz tried to play it and it didn't work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in an ideal world, yes, I'd love to see it tried. I just don't think any games company will have the guts to do it. The risks
Mhm.
from their financial point of view way outweigh
Very high risk for sure.
the way
Very high
outweigh
risk.
the rewards.
But
Uh,
I just think it'd be so interesting to see how a game could turn out if everybody working on it was able to just freely work on it without, working 80, 90-hour weeks every week.
So okay, so here's how I think you break crunch, because this is really an issue of crunch, not necessarily like
Yeah, essentially, yeah,
by
absolutely.
dropping it. So the way you fix crunch is, I think, allocating more budget towards development, and
Mhm.
instead of setting a release date, because you have to set a date. Humans need release dates. Humans needs dates to do things, or else they do not do it. Okay.
Mhm.
If a teacher actually
True,
follows
yeah, yeah.
everybody listen to this right now. If you ever had a teacher tell you submit it whenever, when do you submit it? When do you submit it?
never.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
I agree with that. Like those kind of deadlines can be kind of set in the background, though. You know what I mean? Because as soon as you put a deadline out there to the public, then everybody knows that that game's going to release on that day, and if it doesn't happen, that instantly is a negative mark on that game, and that instantly puts more stress on everybody, because everybody knows that all of the world is waiting for this game, and you have so much money invested into it, obviously, and it creates so much stress. It has to.
I actually did an interview with Aaron Sanfilippo. He's the director, or sorry, he's the owner of Flipfly, the studio that made Race of Sun. And the one thing we were talking about crunch was just the way to fix it, just honestly from the top down, like just management doing like proper things, because there are times when he told me, he said he'll be in the office, he'll sleep under his desk, like wake up, sit up, go right back at it, and go down. He wouldn't go home for a whole week with a kid. So that is just a manage right there. I think that's just a top management issue, because
absolutely,
you can set whatever due dates you want, okay? But as long as you have like stable working environments, where it's not like, hey, we didn't get this done. It's like, okay, hey, we're doing this, this, and this, and we're doing this for this long a time. If you don't get it done, we'll come back and revisit it, and we'll see where we can take time off elsewhere, and then just go through that way, instead of being like, okay, we need 80 hours this week, 90 hours next week, your firstborn this week, and a sample of your blood.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And it's I don't know how to fix the issue. I never worked in game design myself, or in really a high crunch situation, like industry or situation. But whatever we do to fix crunch for the gaming industry, we will need to have more realistic just expectations of people going forward.
Yep. Because developers get ran into the ground. It's
the
crazy.
burnout's wild. The burnout's crazy. It's considering how non-stressful the job could be.
Yeah, exactly. It could be great. Like when I have somebody just work on my branding, I don't rush them. You know what I mean? If you're making a new logo for me, like if it's not here within like 2 months or something, I'm gonna start talking to you for sure. Absolutely. Like definitely shorter than that. But like I'm not gonna bother you for the first 3 weeks, most likely, just because like I know you're probably busy. You might have something going on with your life, and I don't want you to stress yourself and make what you're working on for me less good. Like I don't like rushing people. You know what I mean? Like I rush myself for sure, but I don't rush anybody's creative process, because I know how important it is.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right there. The difference is, though, you not rushing them gets you a better product. Them rushing their devs gets them more money.
Right. No, yeah, exactly. So it's what it really is. It's like it comes down to a company being willing to risk, like to put out a huge risk for sure, and to just try something new with just putting more creativity and just more joy into a game than just rushing everything the entire time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like we've gone off on a huge tangent here. This isn't streaming related at all.
Now,
but I feel like it is a really cool discussion. I really do.
It is. I'll add one thing too to make it stream related here.
Yeah, there you go.
With any streamer doing a major special event, okay? Back to the whole, will it be successful if you just shadow drop it, you just shadow do it?
Mhm.
Do that with like a celebration stream and see how that works.
What do you mean?
So let's say your 5-year or 3-year, I forgot how long you're streaming for, like anniversary is coming up, okay?
Mhm.
Don't tell anybody about it. Just do a celebration for it.
For the game's release?
No, right.
No.
So, for example, right. So, I don't know how long you've been streaming. So, say for me.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Just like any. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I plan a celebration stream for my 4th year on Twitch, but I don't tell anybody about it.
True.
You just do it.
But that at the same time though, that's not new content. That's not something new that somebody can consume that they weren't expecting. It is a celebration stream, but it's not on the scale of like, watch, like if a new amazing movie released today, you know what I mean? Like you'd probably go watch it, you'd probably rent it, within the next few days. You know what I mean? But like if like a new a celebration stream isn't necessarily the same as consuming something that's brand new that just released that you weren't expecting. The enjoyment that I would have of a shadow drop on a new video game would be pretty fucking high. Like even if I'm just watching it, even if I'm just seeing it on Twitch or YouTube, like it just the idea of that would be cool for me.
I think the point I'm trying to say is that it would be cool, but you would never know about it
until the day of.
No, you wouldn't. You probably wouldn't discover it anyway because you wouldn't have those impressions in your brain. You wouldn't see it. You wouldn't be spread around. You wouldn't necessarily see it.
But if they use streamers on Twitch and they were popular streamers, then I would see it. You're
not going to see it. You're not going to see it in the lead up. You might not even see it in the first day, but you can guarantee that people that are involved in any form of streaming and like social media wise, they're going to see it. Nick Mertz plays new game, and I suppose like in that sense, if you had at that point, if you had like then your marketing kicks in, then the ads are on, then then you're getting this. The game's out now. Watch the game. Then you're getting the marketing done, but it's now done with a game that's already out, if you will. You know what I mean? So you're building the hype, but you're building the hype for a product that already exists now, not for a future product. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Absolutely.
So I mean, in that sense, like you would find out about it because at that point, that's when they kick in the overdrive. That's when the standard ads go out. That's when PC Gamer are now talking about it. Like all the places that would be talking about it. Plus, if you were going to do that as well, you'd make a big deal about it as well about getting outside. This is a new way of doing things.
Right.
You'll have different. But like corporations companies that report on business and stuff like that, saying this is look at this new attempt at a marketing something. So I think you would, if you are involved in it, it wouldn't happen straight up. It might not necessarily happen on day of. It might not happen for a couple of days. But I think you're going to see it creep into your sphere.
You guys are definitely right though. It would be very, very difficult, if not impossible, to gain the same amount of hype for that game, like if you didn't do any marketing prior to its release. That's facts. It'd be really hard to gain serious hype for a game if you started talking about it the day it released.
Yeah. I think if we change the topic from video games to any other like product, it would be more cut and dry why you generally wouldn't do that, just because it's I don't know, it doesn't seem very, I don't know how to explain it in a more direct manner, but I think you really need to like look at that and be okay. If you don't know what it is, how you're not going to necessarily be inclined to be like, oh, what is this? Humans are actually really bad at trying new things. Just because it's not in our programming. We're not programmed to try new things. Like if you have a whole plate of like, unless you're in the mood for it, specific mood for it, and they're shadow dropping it, you're not going to be in the mood for it like automatic. You're not going to totally know if you're going to be in the mood for it and something new or not. Okay, there's a whole plate of food, everything you've ever eaten before. Okay, and then a plate of chitlins in the middle. Are you going to try the chitlins?
Well, I would, because that's how I am. But
You eat chitlins?
well, no, I mean, I've never had them, but I try them because why
right.
not? Like, that's when it comes to food, I'll give it a go.
Yeah. Yeah, like you would try it, but also the barrier entry to that is also still very low. Like for a AAA, like if it's a free game, okay, maybe I could see that. But for like a full AAA $60 title, unless you just got money to burn, it's a little harder. It's a little harder.
Well, see, I think the thing with the AAA thing is definitely I think that would probably be the big divider. A free-to-play game that's going to either have a subscription, battle pass, season pass, microtransaction situation, it's far more likely to be successful, and it's far more likely to actually happen, because if you're charging $60 for the game, it's because you need to make that money to pay back for the game, right? Like you've not got another revenue stream for it. So it's certainly in the sense of a AAA $60 game. Yeah, I don't know if that would work. Now that Sadomi points it out, for a game that has some sort of other type of monetization system, like absolutely, because you're already taking that, you're already working in the risk of it's not a guaranteed income. Do you know what I mean? You've already worked that into your numbers. So yeah, in the sense of like, just for example, and I know we don't need another one, but a battle royale. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Yeah, I could see that. I could see it being not only working, but actually being tried. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think Sadomi's got a good point with the sense of just the next God of War game. It's not going to work for it, because it needs that money. It needs to make that money straight off. Yeah.
And like I said, with an established IP too, just the fact that people know and trust that IP, like they'll try it. A good example is mobile games. You don't hear some mobile games announced too early, but you see like God of War mobile version. I'm not sure how many of y'all have like clicked on God of War mobile version, but you wouldn't be inclined to try that, right?
It's different than a PC game, though. Mobile games are inherently different than PC gaming.
Yes, but at the same time, like the barrier to entry is so. Like if you,
I understand what you're saying, but like the comparison just doesn't. It's not this. It's not the same. Like I understand. Like a story game, like a $60 game, would not do as well as let's say a free to play game with microtransactions.
Okay, even better. How many times do you buy a full price game on Steam you've never heard about anything at all about?
Yeah,
couple times. Not often, but like it's not going to be like the argument that it's a game that you've never heard about isn't necessarily valid if the top streamers that you follow are playing it on Twitch. If they're streaming it, then you will 100% know about it within that week, because games have definitely been hyped up just because top level content creators are streaming the game. So there's literally no way that you will not hear about that game if Nick Merck streams it. Even if it's just one streamer, if one streamer plays a brand new IP the day it comes out and nobody has known about it until that day, you will 100% hear about it. There's no way. Like maybe not the day of, but there's literally no way that a streamer plays a brand new game that's amazing that you don't hear about.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Ellie there. On the basis of this, if Nick Merck starts playing a brand new game, right, he gets that nobody's ever heard about. He gets some of the biggest numbers for his stream, because as he's streaming, it's going out. Nick Merck is playing a new game. Right? And people that are not even into Nick Merck, don't follow him, are going to jump in the channel, even if it's just for a couple of minutes to see this new game. Right? When that happens, Nick Merck's peers, Tim, all the other guys, they're like, Nick just got such and such numbers playing this unheard of game. I'm going to play this game. Do you know what I mean? By the next day, these guys are playing it. Do you know what I mean? And that's where games are different from standard products, right? What Khaleesi was saying, standard products, they don't have the same marketing that games have, because games with streamers have a different level of marketing that's beyond what the company controls. Do you know what I mean? So to the idea that a new game comes out, never heard of before, and that look, listen, I don't watch Nick Mertz, I don't follow him on Twitter, I don't follow him on social media, right? But if he started playing a new game today, I would hear about it. I would hear about it just because I'm part of Twitter, social media. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of agree with Velokk on that it's not going to be the same, but you're going to hear about it. I mean, this is how these games get in the first place. This is how, this is one of the avenues that they use even before the game comes out. When they hype it up, they use people like to talk about, I've seen footage from this new game. You know what I mean? It's because the big streamers are talking about it, as well as the other marketing that they're doing, that the game gets marketed.
And word of mouth. Word of mouth is huge. And if it's a new game that comes out that day, like, you will talk about it. And
there's a huge amount of want to be first. I was one of the first people to play this game. That's a huge drive in people. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think honestly, I don't. As I say, I don't see this happening. It would
Can I use an example?
And big cojones from a company to do this.
How many of you guys knew about Fall Guys before it was going to launch, though? That game was at E3 and nobody knew.
Listen, free on PS Plus.
True.
Low barrier to entry. That's
True.
the key. Low barrier to entry. If there's a low barrier to entry, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
if
absolutely.
It's a $60 title, you automatically cut people out just by price itself.
100%. That's going to happen regardless of how you market that game. 100%. I totally agree, because there are people that will enjoy Cyberpunk that won't buy it when it first comes out because they don't want to spend $60 on it. I 100% agree with what you're saying. Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense to me. If it's a low cost game or free to play, the game will do a bajillion times better than if it didn't, just based on the ease of access. I think we've kind of talked about this one a lot, though. We only got a half hour left of the show, my dudes. We still got 3 more topics to squeeze in here. No, but honestly, dude, that was a really cool discussion, and it wasn't necessarily streaming related. It can be in ways, but I really appreciated that conversation. To be honest, that was cool. So if you guys are ready, to move on?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'll kick this can in the road all day,
dude. All right, we're gonna do a stream after this where we're just gonna argue with each other about whatever we can think of. No, but thank you for that comment, guys. That was actually really cool, because you don't really get, especially right now, you don't really get to have conversations like that too much. So what's the next topic? Alinity believes Twitch should have banned her for cat drama. She said it was bad, and she said a bunch of other things, but that's what the title of the article was. Alinity did an interview with Miss Kiff. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Okay.
Yeah, Miss Kiff.
Okay. And she basically had said that she should have gotten banned for throwing her cat. She knows of streamers who have done worse, or streamers who have done less, that are smaller, that have gotten banned for things that that aren't as big of a deal. And she talks about the double standards that Twitch has, and if you're a bigger content creator, Twitch is going to be more lenient with you. She said she was talking she said a lot about the ban process and everything. So we'll start with DoggGaming. What do you got on this one, man?
Well, it's a couple of things. First off, she's not wrong. There is a double standard. It isn't the standard that a whole lot of people out there claim, in that they think that Alinity gets away with stuff because she's a woman. It's not that double standard. It most certainly is the standard that you're one of our money earners. So, we can fudge the rules now and again for you. My issue is that honestly, I can't believe she said it. I really can't believe she said it. Right? It's in some ways it's kind of thumbing her nose at what's went on. I should have been banned. Right? And then she's right about the double standard. I don't disagree with that at all. That it's clear. It's clearly there. We've seen it, and not just with Alinity, but seriously, when you get away with that one, keep your head down. Do you know what I mean? Don't be telling us how I got away with that one. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is as well, right? For someone that has, and it's not all her at all, but for someone that has been involved in quite a bit of controversy on Twitch, it just kind of smacks of poking the hornet's nest again when things have calmed down. Do you know what I
I
mean?
agree. I don't think that she tried to make it that way, but it could definitely be perceived negatively, like you're saying. I do think that she was genuinely just trying to talk about it, but totally agreed. It does seem a little like I got away with it. You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what it seems like.
Yeah, and you know, not that she should have to take this into consideration, but she has given a whole lot of ammo to people that have been looking for more ammo for her. Not that she should have to take that into consideration. I accept that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It kind of smacked. To me, it was. I don't know. Like it just came off a bit bad taste. Like, you know, like yeah, I got away with one there, and the reason is because I'm a big streamer.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I don't know. To me, it kind of stuck in the craw a bit, you know. I will say again, she's not wrong. There is a double standard. It makes sense, and I understand why there is. You know, if you make money off something, you're more likely to find ways to make sure that it goes all right than if you don't. Do you know what I mean? Do I think that Twitch needs to do more about the double standard? Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do. It most certainly needs to happen. For example, you know, I don't know if anything's come of this, but there was a Twitch partner recently that we know was using their community to brigade another Twitch partner with hate raids and such. You know, I'm not wanting to mention any names. I'm not trying to. I'm not. You know what I mean? But I don't know if anything's been done yet about that partner, and it wasn't the first time they've done it. You know, there are certainly people that are using it to their advantage and all the wrong ways, and they certainly need to do something and have more consistency about it. For me though, it just kind of stuck in my craw, and I you know, look, I don't have anything personally against Alinity. Do I watch her? No, not really interested in her content. Do I wish her any ill will? Absolutely not. She's not on my radars, whatever. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, that stuck in my craw. Like, come on, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I get that. People are going to negatively receive everything that she does. You know what I mean? Like, Alinity is always going to have the criticism, especially because of what she's done. So I understand that, but I also understand the reason why she does want to talk about it, because so much has happened to her that she could technically start to be one of the voices that kind of like turns the tide of, you know, how Twitch does these bans, because like she already has a lot of popularity and a lot of how can I say this? She has a following. She has a large outreach. You know what I mean? And if people are seeing like this streamer that has, you know, had some questionable things happen on Twitch and gotten away with a lot of them, if that person starts to, you know, speak out about how they shouldn't have gotten away with it, but they've also seen, you know, smaller streamers get punished worse for doing less, like that could really start, you know, getting things moving in the right direction. So as much as I think like it is kind of rude, it does come off a little, you know, like sticking your nose up at it. It still makes sense in a way. Sadomi, what do you got on this one, man?
Okay, so let's also remember that Alinity is a person.
Yeah,
between this conversation. Okay. So think of her as a person. Let's pretend I'm Alinity. Okay. Pretend I'm her. She's me. Okay. The first thing I want to say is, you know, people make mistakes. People make things that are not necessarily smart and necessarily the best decisions at the moment. Especially on live stream. There's times when we've all fucked up and said something we probably shouldn't have said. Luckily, no one was watching us in comparison to Alinity. So,
right, absolutely,
you know, we got away with it. Okay, I've definitely said, you know, some things on stream. I know everyone here has. Don't tell me y'all haven't.
Right.
Some of y'all have flashed your genitals. Stood up, shorts fall down a little bit, and there's a crack.
Right.
Okay. We've all seen people do it. So first off, I want to say let's just give Lindy a bit of the benefit of a doubt, just because, like I said, live stream you don't have that much control over everything. Like a YouTube video, you can edit that down. If you accidentally like slipped in a hard R because you were just like cursing things out, you can get rid of that. Boom, edit out. That's fine. You left it in, now that's a problem. So we'll give people some benefit out there. Next thing, when it comes to Twitch bans, or the Twitch partners, they all have an account manager. At least all the big ones have an account manager. Okay, that account manager helps you with all your Twitch related issues, including bans and whatnot. Okay. Do you think Twitch talked about internally if Lindy should be banned for, her cat issue and the other stuff she did?
Probably.
Yeah. Duh. Of course they did. That's their job. So we don't know that conversation because Twitch has a policy of never talking about those situations in public. That's why we don't know anything about Dr. Disrespect being banned. So we don't know anything about anyone being banned except for what, and I want to make this very clear, except for what the broadcasters say and what other people say. I've never heard a single firsthand statement from Twitch based on anything about partner being banned. Anything. Even the Anthem directory. Let's be honest.
The amount of negative
fucked up at work.
Point. She's painting herself out as being, I know what I did was bad there, but it's Twitch's fault. And yes, it is Twitch's fault that they didn't ban you. Do you know what I mean? But you're sitting there trying to paint yourself as, I know what I did was bad, blame Twitch.
So she actually did that. She did that actually. She took herself off Twitch for 3 days after she had her slip. Okay. Fair. And people still gave her shit for that anyway.
No, I mean, like, there's going to be people give her shit. I get that. There's going to be people give her shit.
Right.
But I think a huge amount of that is from voices that are, I don't want to use certain language, but from voices that are just, they're never going to give you sensible discussion. They're never going to, and in such case, they're just noise. It's white noise. Do you know what I mean? There's a bunch of accounts out there that the reality is, yes, they're making noise, and it's difficult for Alinity. I get it. She has to deal with it, right? But for the rest of us, they're white noise. I don't know. Right. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, every time, if you see an Alinity tweet and you see the X amount of tweets underneath it from people that are, you should be banned, are we listening to them? Are any sensible-minded people listening to them?
You'd be surprised. It's not the fact that you're listening to them actively, but that thought, and back to more human psychology here, you see something, your brain's going to give it like energy no matter what. You could see like something being absolutely not true, you're still going to think about it. Even if you know it's obviously not true, you still think about it. And it'll sit in your head. And again, if she doesn't make comments on it and your only source of information is that white noise, your brain's going to just kind of naturally assume to that white noise.
Even if you don't necessarily pay attention to it, it's still there. I agree. Exactly. It's still there. And that's the only real impression that you have on the situation is other people's, how can I say this? Is somebody else's interpretation of what's going on.
Yeah. So right here, what she wants to do is she wants to take control of the narrative. She wants to have control over what people think about her because she's never really taken that control before. With the PewDiePie incident, she never made that many like direct statements about it afterwards. In fact, she actually met up with PewDiePie and they had a discussion about it. And that's from her. She said that firsthand source. So I'm inclined to believe it was true. And I haven't seen Felix talk about it since either. So I assume, that's true there. So what she wants to do with these comments is just take control over it and make sure people know, hey, this is what I'm actually thinking. As people have a first-hand source to go on, not all the white noise, not all the other people who aren't directly involved in it. That's what she wants to do.
Yeah, I think it was smart of her for sure. And I agree with what you're saying, Dog, for sure. I like it. It all makes sense. There's not going to be like a 100% perfect thing that she can do just because of the things that she's already done. You know what I mean? So I mean, there's gonna be negatives and positives to everything that she does. There's always gonna be criticism, but like sometimes, hopefully, there will be good intentions behind it. But yeah, I mean, so
I think she could easily have talked about the double standards at Twitch and pointed out the fact that she's not responsible for those double standards.
Right.
I think she could easily have done that without mentioning the idea that I know what I did was wrong and I know I got away with it.
True. What I mean? But that's another thing where it's just like another live thing that could just slip out that you can't really fix. You know what I mean?
Yeah. True, but at the same time, if we're talking about controlling the narrative, you've got to have been thinking about this beforehand.
Yeah.
If you're making the attempt to control the narrative, you've been thinking about this in the lead up. You should have a good idea of what you should and shouldn't be saying if you're trying to have the narrative the way you want to see it. As I say, I don't disagree with any of the other stuff that she said in the interview. In any way at all, she's spot on. You know what I mean? It just sticks in my craw when someone turns around and says, "I know, got away with one." Do you know what I mean?
I feel like that's not how she took it. I feel like it's not how she's really meant to word that. Like, I got away with it. She's more of like, I did something wrong and I should have been punished for it, but I wasn't.
Yeah,
I think that's more of
100%.
what she was saying with that versus
I get that, but at the same time, you're talking about controlling the narrative. When you say something like that, that's not taking control of the narrative. That's opening it up to interpretation. That is absolutely opening up the narrative to interpretation, because we are, and I can prove that by the fact that we're talking about it just now.
Fair. Okay. All right. DoggGaming wins. Okay.
because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be saying this. I have agreed with everything else. If that was a limited statement, I would be sitting here saying, "Preach it, good on you, fantastic," and there wouldn't be a stumbling block here for me.
Did she specifically say? I can't recall now. Did she specifically say that she got away with it?
I should have been bad.
Yeah. 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 I think that's what she said, was that she should have gotten banned, but she didn't. And then she was comparing her situation to people that got banned for not as terrible of a thing. You know what I mean? But it could get interpreted, in a positive way or in a negative way. It just depends. I mean, it just depends on how you perceive it, I guess. But yeah, I think it's a good attempt by her to try to take control of it. I think there's things that she could have done better, for sure, 100%. But yeah, I hope it's a step in the right direction for her. You know what I mean? I really do.
So honestly, and having said all that, like, I would honestly just like to see us stop having as much abuse from people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd like to see the controversy around her not be as much. Now, admittedly, there's a percentage of that is her own creating through her actions on stream, but at the same time, I'd like to see it go away. Like, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, there is this attitude amongst a lot of people on Twitch where certain things don't get let go. There are certain streamers and commentators right now who are still getting abuse because of the tweets that they put out about Dr. Disrespect. Do you know what I mean? And all they did was put out tweets saying that I've seen stuff and it's not great. Do you know what I mean? They're still getting abuse because there are certain folk that are just never going to let that go. And I would like to see that die down. I would honestly, right around the, what do you call it? But unfortunately, there is a lot of people that are on Twitch or Twitch social media or the Twitch circle to be angry at folk. I just think in this case she's fueled the fire in some ways. But hey,
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I think we should move on to this next topic real quick, just because it is the last day of August, and I do want to talk about the September promo for subscriptions, and I want to know what you guys think about this. Twitch has done a lot of September events where they have either you can sub for a cheaper amount of money where the streamer gets the same amount. They've done a bunch of different things. This month they're doing something a little bit different. What is this? Let's see. It says the company will let you save up to 30% on a channel subscription. The longer you decide to support a streamer, the more you'll save. So they say here's how it works. You can get 20% off the first month of a new monthly subscription. So it can't be a resub to a streamer you've already subbed to. It says so 20% off the first month for a new sub, 25% the next, and then up to 30% off the first 6 months of a new biannual subscription. To me, this is not as great as what they've done in the past. But I want to know what you guys think about this. We'll start with Dogg, because it looks like you already have your thoughts together on this one.
First time they did September was the best one they had. That was percentage off the, what do you call it? I've got a feeling that it was so taken up that they lost money, they spent more money than they intended to spend, because they must have known they would have been spending some money. Since then, though, I've felt that September has become more and more, nice, great. It's not something I'm going to be actively promoting. Do you know what I mean? I also have to agree with Sir Waffles that this is more of a promo for the new multi-month subs than anything else. I definitely think that's the case.
Wow. Yep.
We've just seen them come in the last couple of months maximum, and now where the real money is to be made is is on a new 6 month sub to someone, which is honestly a hell of a subscription time to ask people to what do you call it, to because it's a new sub. It's not
Right.
That doesn't matter if you've been gift. So if you've been gift subbed in the channel, if you've had a sub once, a couple of months, you used a Prime or something, you're not getting the discount. So the reality is, for the majority of people, this isn't going to be something that they can use on their favorite streamers, right? Because they'll have the chances are they've used a Prime, or they've been sub for a month or two, or they've been gifted a sub. So the reality is, this is asking people to go drop big money on people that they've maybe not even watched as much. They've probably not watched as much. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't see it being as successful as previous ones. That's all.
No way. Sadomi?
Yeah, like I said, they're just pushing the multi-month subs. When I saw it at first, I think the fact that I didn't stop and look at it too much kind of told you how excited I was for it. I was like, oh, cool, September.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I think what Twitch wants is they want to get more user acquisition. They'll get more users to be subbed to more people on Twitch. Because, fun fact, once you spend money in one place once, you are exponentially more likely to spend that money there again.
Yep.
Yeah, it's breaking that first barrier. So having so I think September actually they ran the same like $1 sub promo per. It will cost them a lot of money now, but I think over the long term, they would recoup that really easily, because I'm sure a lot of people also forget subs.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I think and again, I'm not part of Twitch's marketing team. I'm not part of their get more subs to make more money team. I'm not part of that, so I don't know what they're thinking. But if it was me, I would focus on getting as many people like freshly subbed as possible for the 3-month period, because 3-month period, you're probably going to forget about it. You're probably just going to keep recurring over month.
Yeah.
Because how many times you guys bought something they forgot to cancel, and I got charged in my bank account, let me cancel, and then next month, I forgot to do something, let me cancel. Let me do something, forgot to cancel.
Yep.
I literally happened to me the other day, and it's a yearly sub. It's like like Game Pass, and it came out, and I was like, oh man, that's a year ago.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah.
It's tough.
But yeah, you're right. I agree, Sadomi. I agree.
Yeah. I don't, like I said, like you guys said, I don't think it's gonna do that well at all compared to what they've done in the previous years. Definitely not anything compared to the first year.
Now, I will say, just because you don't think it'll do well, I still say push it if you if you want to, because one, if people want to sub to you, they'll probably sub to you, and most people who will sub to you will sub for multiple months. And I think they'll probably make a retraction where you can sub to someone for the discounted rates for multiple months, because like I said, they just released that feature. They want to get people using it, because if you can sub to someone for multiple months at a one-time fee and then recurs afterwards, I think that's the best way to gather the most subs possible going forward. Because I'm not sure if the recurring is for each 3 months after as well.
It's a 3-month recurring.
Oh, that's wild. My brain just saw ching ching right there. Well, for Twitch, not for streamers, but for Twitch in general. Yeah. Like, let's be honest, most affiliates, Twitch is taking, you just find other methods of monetization.
Twitch is making the money, you're not.
Yeah. Okay, small mini rant. Let's say you're running any business and you told a company, hey, I'll give you 50% of my profits. You could eat these shorts, my dude.
True. That's true. You wouldn't accept it from anything else.
They feed me every day.
Luckily, you can honestly look at Twitch as like rent, honestly.
Yeah.
Income-based rent.
That's the best way to think about it, to be honest, is that it has to be, it's rent, because you're basically paying them, essentially.
Yeah, you're renting bandwidth.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely.
That might be the best comparison I've heard.
Really, it's like if anybody that runs their own server or stuff like that, you're literally paying for a game. You're literally paying for the server.
Yeah, that's literally the best comparison I've heard to, losing 50% of your own money on Twitch. That makes sense.
Now, mind you, if it's a two-way deal too, because if you stream at 1080p, 3K at BPS, Twitch is losing out by hosting you, but then they'll make it back on the other affiliates who get 100 subs. They feed 10 other 0 viewer streamers, so it kind of feeds its own ecosystem there.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what the financials of Twitch are. I've looked into that, but I assume they're not doing horribly
Yeah.
on
Right.
that.
Right. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because September is coming up literally tomorrow. I definitely wanted to squeeze that into this episode. We got a couple more topics, I think, or one more, but I think we'll get to that next week instead, just because we're kind of running a little short on time. Really good show today, guys. That was awesome. That was like some of the discussions were crazy, but I really enjoyed them for sure. And I hope you guys did as well, chat, and everybody who's listening after the fact. Thank you guys for chilling and hanging out with us. Really appreciate you. Thanks for questions that you've asked us. We really like helping people out, and hopefully you guys had fun listening to us today. DoggGaming, my dude, where can people find you, and what can they expect when they get there?
On Twitch, I'm Dogg_gaming. On everything else, I'm just DoggGaming. And you can find, when you come in, you'll find someone getting bullied off their chat, mostly. Playing FPS games and a very, very community-driven stream with an emphasis on it being a mental health safe space. And that's why I started streaming, because of my mental health, and it's made a lot. I'm a different person now because of streaming. And so I want to help other people as well, and to have somewhere where they can feel that. So yeah, hop in, have some fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate having you on. I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely. Sadomi, my dude, where can people find you, and what can they expect?
You can find me at twitch.tv/Sadomi, SADOMI, or on Twitter, where I'm a bit more active, at twitter.com/SadomiTV, SADOMI TV. I'm getting into Magic the Gathering again.
Oh,
rest in peace, Wallet. But it's a fun ride. It's fun. It's simple. I'm doing arena a lot. I've been doing pack openings, getting stuff. I pulled a few good cards. I have a full art gem raiser. I would show it, but my exposure is gonna kill it. You kind of see it's kind of pretty.
It does look pretty from here.
It is. I also got a Grim Tutor, so good pulls. But
I don't know what that means, but it sounds dope.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. I do want to specify real quick for everybody who's just listening to the podcast. DoggGaming is spelled with 2 G's, like Snoop Dogg. All right, make sure we get that right. DOGG_gaming on Twitch. I just want to make sure we're spelling his name right, because if you can't find him, I'd be sad. You should definitely go check him out. Check out both of these guys, 100%. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you. I hope everybody has a great day. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. We'll see you next week, Monday, 11 a.m. EST, as always. Thanks again. And Sadomi? Hope you're muted. This dude.
Blaze it up.
There we go. We got it. We're out. Have a good week. Stay safe. Stay beautiful. Be nice to others.